a beautiful practice you have.
It was, and I really feel like I should have been doing this. I did ignore some of those breadcrumbs for a long time, but I really feel like this is where I was meant to be, and it's at the end of my career, which is kind of unique. I'm not a spring chicken. I've been practicing for 32 years. That's crazy. So it's been really a beautiful sort of manifestation of this idea.
Hi, guys, and welcome to the Housecall Vet Cafe podcast. I'm Dr. Eve Harrison. I'm a full-time integrative concierge housecall veterinarian in Los Angeles, and I help other vets to build their unique mobile practices on their terms. This podcast is for and by housecall and mobile veterinarians, so it is meant to give our community a platform to connect, to share our stories, to lift each other up, and to support each other. Most of us work solo as lone wolves, right? So for me, it's been really powerful to be able to physically hear the voices of my colleagues from all over the world and to get a chance to feel that we truly are part of a community of very real other human beings who get it. While you may be alone in that little bubble of your own vehicle when you're on the road seeing patients, I welcome you to join our community by tuning into our own podcast when you're on your way to your next house call. Whether you're a super experienced house call vet with 30 years of experience, you're a brand new prospective house call vet just looking to get started, or you're house call curious, there will be something for you in this podcast. Each episode, you will hear interviews from other mobile veterinarians just like yourself who are doing unique and innovative things, vets who are sharing their stories, their struggles and challenges, and you can also look forward to hearing valuable information and perspectives from specialists and experts outside of our micro niche. And finally, if becoming a housecall veterinarian is something that you've been thinking about exploring, or you're looking for some extra support getting your own mobile practice to feel more profitable and sustainable for you, check out the information in the show notes about my course and our above and beyond supportive private community for members only, plus our monthly group coaching sessions within the Housecall Vet Academy. You can also check out my free public Facebook group, which is also called the Housecall Vet Cafe, the same name as this podcast, and which is a warm and cozy community for mobile vets to support each other in professional and personal development, in creative entrepreneurship, and in friendship. So thank you guys for spending time with me today. Let's dive into the episode.
Hey everyone, I am extremely excited about having our next guest on with us. This is someone that I've been really looking forward to this conversation for a long time. So today we have with us Dr. Wendy Lipman. She is an integrative housecall veterinarian in San Diego, California. She's a 1994 UC Davis grad. In parentheses, she wrote, yes, she graduated in the 1900s. And she received her acupuncture certification from Chi University in 2018. She started her housecall practice for Paws Mobile Veterinary Acupuncture in 2019 as a side gig to a permanent relief job at a brick-and-mortar general practice. But she never dreamed this would or could become her career path. The practice quickly grew, and in March 2025, she quit her toxic relief job to focus on full-time house calls. It has been an amazing evolution in her veterinary career, and she is grateful every day to be where she has landed. Welcome, Wendy. I'm so excited to have you on the show, and I personally have a stake in your journey and have watched it all of these years, and it's been beautiful to witness. Wendy has been in the Housecall Vet Academy. She is currently in the Concierge Vet Mastermind. She's been to all of our retreats since the very beginning, and a bunch of Housecall and mobile vet virtual conferences, I believe. So I've gotten to know Wendy really well, and we're kind of neighbors in Southern California. So it's been a real joy to watch your process, and I'm excited to finally have you on the podcast. So before we dive in, can you tell me, what is your favorite snack to eat in the car?
So I actually have a bag of snacks in my car, depending on my mood. So I have sweet, savory, salty, crunchy. So I have a bag that has little bags of pretzels, Kind bars, fruit snacks. What else is in there? It kind of changes as I run out, but little bags of popcorn. So it kind of depends on my mood. So it's always there in my hatchback. So
That's
pretty
amazing.
much.
You don't fuck around with your snacks. You're very
No,
serious.
no.
You have
It's
like one of
very,
each of the 5 elements of flavors
I do.
of
I
snacks
do.
available at every moment.
I'm
Love that.
prepared. nothing can be melty because we're in Southern California. So it's been a learning curve of granola bars that have chocolate that come out totally melted.
So
So
funny.
yeah.
And on the subject of melty things, for those of you who have not been on a house call vet retreat, Wendy is the designated bringer of ice cream. She's brought ice cream every single year,
Every single time.
and
Yes.
she always picks the best flavors. So, yes, shout out to the bringer of ice cream and snacks. So, can you tell me a little bit about how you became a house call vet and what your journey was like?
So my journey was an interesting one because I didn't have this idea. I was working in this permanently relief, this hospital, and I'd gone to Chi and became certified. Kind of, that's a whole nother story. That's kind of this manifestation. But
Mhm.
I started working, I wasn't able to do acupuncture at the brick and mortar. The owner's husband didn't believe in it, and brick and mortar, it is a little bit hard because of the way I do it. You need a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So it started off very slowly. A woman in my yoga class knew I was a vet and then knew I had done acupuncture and asked me to come over. So at that point, I was, scared to death to do acupuncture on patients other than my own pets. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to go to her house, stick needles in her dog. And this dog could barely walk. And after a couple of treatments, this dog's running around. And I'm like, wow, this stuff works. Like, you
Yeah.
know? And so we did that for a while. And she's like, you should do this. And I'm like, yes, I should do this. But how do we do this? And I don't even know how it happened. She wound up moving, and then somebody called me. I think maybe I'd gotten a business number on Sideline, just thinking, oh, I should have a phone number. And somebody called me, and I can't even remember if it was on that phone number or on my regular cell phone. And I think they saw me in a directory on one of the acupuncture, like Chi University's directory or something like that. And I thought, okay, here we go. I have a person. I better get a name. And so it started off like that. I didn't have a bank account for the business, and this was in 2019, the end of 2019, right in the middle of COVID. So getting a bank account was difficult because everything was closed. And in order to get a bank account, at least in California, you needed to have your business license, which I had a relief business license, but not my DBA for my acupuncture. So I had to do this all by mail. You couldn't go in down to the office there, and then they'd send it back and said, we need this other. So it was this dance. So I finally got a bank account, but I was seeing this client, and then word of mouth, I don't know. Then eventually I got a website. So I kind of did it backwards. I did it too at the House Call Academy way. I didn't have a plan. It just organically unfolded. And I always tell this story at the retreat, but it was Christmas Eve. I think I joined the House Call Academy, like, I think it was Christmas Eve. Um,
That day.
and I'm listening to the lectures and realize I'm illegal. I'm supposed to have a premises license. And I lost it because I've been working for a year. I thought they're going to come for me. The California Medical Vet Med Board's going to come for me. So Christmas Eve, I'm applying for the vet premise license. Thanks to Eve, made me legal after a year. And it just sort of breadcrumb, the universe threw breadcrumbs, and I just followed that path, and it's busy as heck. I was able to a year ago quit my toxic brick and mortar relief job, and it's just taken off. So it's been this amazing journey, and my clients are the best. It's like hanging out. I would go out to lunch with any one of them. So I don't have that Sunday scaries. I don't have anybody I'm like, ugh, I gotta see this person. none of that. It's like been really great for my adrenal glands. So
I love it. Yeah, your path has been so beautiful. And, I mean, it is, I really love hearing the stories those organic stories of like a client wanted my help. And so I started, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. And then, you come to the House Call Vet Academy and you clean up any holes, and you're like, oh, I'm a real business now. I'm an entrepreneur. Holy shit. And then like everything goes to the next level, and you're like, now this is my full-time gig, and now
yeah,
I'm happy. Now I can quit the toxic job. So
yeah.
I mean, house call practice is often so organic like that, and it almost baffles me. I mean, I know it's not a judgment, but like someone who decides I want to do house call practice and they want all the steps in advance before they tell a single client, I'm like,
Mhm.
yes, the house call vet academy is presented in that order of events, but reality is such that life, right? And if you have a client that comes, you start with them, and then you fill in the pieces as the kind of like sacred timeline unfolds. So I'm a person who it might be confusing to people seeing the House Call Vet Academy, like do this, then this, then this, then this, but it's really meant to work like puzzle pieces with just how our lives unfold. And I love that you just let that happen. It's so organic, and what a beautiful practice you have.
It was, and I really feel like I should have been doing this. I did ignore some of those breadcrumbs for a long time, but I really feel like this is where I was meant to be, and it's at the end of my career, which is kind of unique. I'm not a
Mm.
spring chicken. I've been
Mm.
practicing for 32 years. That's crazy.
You're a summer
Uh,
chicken, if I
I'm
may say.
um, but
And you
it's
have chickens, by the way.
I
Wendy
we
has
do have
chickens.
chickens. We do have chickens. Uh, yeah, so it's been really this beautiful, beautiful sort of manifestation of this idea. I thought, at Chi University, it was Chi Institute back then. I was like, it would be really cool to do this as house call. One of the instructors had a house call practice, but I was like, nah, I could never do that.
Yeah, yeah.
But it would be really cool. And then it just sort of manifested. And, before I knew it, I made a website and I
Yeah.
made a logo. And then people started calling. And it's this really crazy, crazy journey.
Yeah,
Uh,
I love those breadcrumbs from the universe, and so many of us have we get bitch slapped by the universe so many times
oh,
before we're
yeah.
like, oh, this
Yeah.
is what I'm supposed to be doing. Those were breadcrumbs. Got
Right.
it.
Right. Right. Sometimes they're breadcrumbs. Sometimes they're full on loaves that just
Sometimes it's a stale loaf that
a
lands on
steel
your head
loaf
from the
of
sky.
sourdough. Oh.
Loaves. Oh, I love it. Wendy is a
uh,
very funny human. Her sense of humor is one of my favorites on the planet. For those of you listening, so stay tuned. Maybe we'll catch some of Wendy's like funnies.
uh,
Hint, hint. Make some funny jokes. Um, no pressure.
even pursuing acupuncture was this strange journey, which I don't know if you ever knew that. I had My mother was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And so I moved down here. We moved down. I left the practice I worked at in Sacramento, came down here and started doing relief because I was taking her through her cancer journey. And
Mm.
my grandmother lived with them, and my father had Parkinson's. So I was kind of this caretaker and lost sort of my identity as a vet for a while because I was doing that full time. And now I'm a caretaker and kind of doing relief. So my mom lived for 3 years and passed away, and a brochure for Chi Institute back then came in the mail. And I said, I'm going to do this. My best friend from vet school had done it, changed her life. And I said, I'm going to do this. Yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm not a caretaker, in that capacity right now. And I can do this. And then I found out I was pregnant at age 44,
Oh my
my
God.
son, which was, I think, a gift from my mom. But
Yeah.
I thought it's probably not the time to be flying back to Florida back and forth. So fast forward another 11 years, the brochure came again. And now my son can dress himself and do all those things. And I said, I'm going to do this. And right after the brochure came, my best friend from vet school called me and said she was going to be at the holistic medicine conference in San Diego. Do you want to get together for a drink? I said, absolutely. So that was glimmer number 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, you should do this. You should do this. It's going to be great. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And then I got a check in the mail like the next week on this strange inheritance that we didn't know I had. And it was for the amount of the course.
Oh my.
So that was the loaf hitting me in the head and signed up. And look where it took me. So it was really this calling of these gifts from the universe bringing me along this path.
So beautiful. And eventually you listened to the breadcrumbs.
Yeah, eventually.
The timing was right, and the
timing was
kind
right. And and thinking, okay, I'm just going to do this for me. And then I thought, well, this could be a side gig, and it's turned into, this great practice that I have that I'm just so happy. I just, my biggest stress is the traffic, and even that's not that bad when you put on a podcast.
Yeah, don't talk to me about traffic,
I
San
know,
Diego. I'm in LA over here.
I know.
But that goes to say, that speaks
No.
exactly to like just how good it is. It's like
I
that's the biggest
know.
problem. All right.
Yeah, it's great, so
fantastic.
you should do it, everybody. You should do it.
You should do it. Yes. And I love, like, this is a common story in my own story as well, that I started with acupuncture as sort of my first step out of the orthodoxy of the veterinary world, the straitjacket that is the standard world of veterinary medicine. And I was like, whoa, I'm really out there now. I'm learning acupuncture. and I think so many of us are like, it just like a real paradigm shift. Like our brains just like completely morph into something else. And I really credit traditional Chinese medicine and Dr. Shea at the Chi Institute and what he's done, his pioneering, to just start to chip away at that rigidity that we have learned in vet school. It has to be this way. It has to be that way. And it starts to chip away. And, I became certified in acupuncture. My brain was morphed into something different. And then house call practice and acupuncture are such beautiful pairings. And it goes so well. It's about the relaxation of the animal, and it's about ease and about slow and steady. And house call is just such a perfect modality for, I mean, I literally consider house call practice itself as a modality.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely,
house call practice itself is a holistic modality. You're delivering medicine in a holistic manner by being in the home, right?
Right.
Yeah.
They're calm, you're calm. And I have so many of my patients, a lot fall asleep. When you put the needles in, they fall.
Yeah.
And so my clients tell me a lot of times we're at the end of life, or they're at the, seeking me out because they're out of options. And their vet has said, you really should consider quality of life for this animal. And then I go into the home, and I'm so fortunate because I see what I did not see when I was in the brick and mortar. You see these dogs that barely move. They're on these floors, they're slipping, and you just think, oh my gosh, this dog's just, miserable. And I go into the house, and, they're meeting me at the door because the client has the entire floor as yoga mat. So they have traction, and they're, it's just great. And I think this is what I was missing in brick and mortar, is seeing them in their environment relaxed and calm instead of this cortisol fear with other dogs barking. And so it's really, as you said, a whole nother.
It's a world of, it's a whole other modality, another world of integrative care that it itself, I think, opens up. What's very interesting, I see this happens a lot too, that people who kind of approach house call practice as like, I want to start a house call practice and I have this vision and I want to do all these things. It's like I'm looking at my clock like 3, 2, 1. You're going to start investigating integrative modalities very, very soon because you're going to understand what it means to people, what it means. You don't have to be in it. For anyone listening, you absolutely do not have to be integrative to be a house call vet. There are tons of people that I've trained and that, Wendy and I refer back and forth to that are just like, strictly Western, and is more than okay. But it's such a common trajectory that you start to understand what house call medicine is, what it is to be in the home of an animal that isn't terrified to death, what it is to be in the home of a person who isn't also kind of on edge because they're in this cold, sterile, toxic, straight up toxic environment. And when the people who work there are treated not good or not happy, it trickles to the clients and they can feel everything. So when you're in the home and you have a taste of just, oh my God, this is peaceful. This is
Right.
okay. This is also really valid veterinary medicine, and I'm doing something really freaking awesome. What else can I bring that is sort of working in this paradigm? And people then quickly, if they're not already acupuncture certified, get acupuncture certified, and then they get the herbal certification, and then they get the rehab, and then they get the ozone, and then they get the PEMF mat and the laser, and then, the whole thing. It's just a matter of time. But what's interesting is for you, I see you creeping almost in a little bit of in the reverse direction, kind of like I did. I started acupuncture only, and then ever so gradually, my clients want this, so okay, we do that. They want blood work. Okay, now I have blood work, and now they want injections of this and that. Okay, so now I started out just acupuncture, and then went full circle back to whatever you want, except for surgery, dentistry, X-rays. Is there's a little bit of that's I'm seeing happen in your practice?
Yes,
too?
it
Can you
is.
speak on that?
Because they see how their dog is, so they don't want to go in for the side point injection, and they're like, can you do this? Or I had one of my clients, their dog had a corneal ulcer, and she's very busy, and he hates the vet, and she wanted, could I do the recheck? And she said, I think his eye's okay. And I said, well, we should do the recheck. I just happen to have some fluorescein strips from my own dog in my bag. And so I said, let's just do it here. And she's like, oh my gosh. And then she's the one saying, when are you going to do concierge? When are you going to do concierge? I'm like, well, actually,
As it so happens, I may be in a
so
mastermind.
happens. Yes, yes, very soon.
Very soon.
But yeah, you start bringing in, and there's certain, as we always talk about, boundaries.
Yeah.
I don't want to get back into GP strictly because I'm so happy with the integrative. And integrative is GP, it's Eastern and Western. But I don't want to do certain things. And that's okay. I don't have to. I can set these boundaries. Like at this point, I'm not keen on doing lab work because I don't, like I said, I'm at the end. And so to set up lab and all that,
Perfect.
it's not something I want to, but who knows, another couple months and I will. Kind of how a loaf of bread will come hitting me in the head and I'll say, oh, I should do that.
You'll
But
do a baguette this time.
yeah, baguette, a croissant.
A croissant. Here to deliver the message.
Yeah.
Let's do blood work now.
Yeah. So yeah, it has morphed into more. And I used to just have my acupuncture bag with my needles, and now I have a separate bag in my car of some antibiotics and some trazodone and just those things that people are like, hey, we're going on a trip, and I don't want to say, well, you need to see your vet, and I'm careful about not stepping on toes. I don't want to do that, but really a lot of people are using their vet not consistently, I'll just say that, because I'm in their house every week or every 2 weeks. So when they have questions or, hey, can you look at this? Or, you know, Fluffy's got diarrhea. And it's like, well, I happen to have some probiotics in the car. So,
Magic sprinkles of
yeah, magic sprinkles or
glittery
yeah.
bacteria.
Or, yeah. or here, here's this herb, try this, or,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah, I love that so much. What I mean, there's a few things that I want to kind of address that you mentioned that were really interesting to me. One, that there's this fluidity. You can go in any direction you want.
Hmm.
You're like, I don't want to do blood work, but I can do a little bit of GP.
Hmm.
Maybe I will do blood work. Maybe I won't. Maybe,
Hmm.
depends what pastry
Hmm.
comes from the sky.
Right.
Uh, but you're really highlighting that beautiful
Yeah,
agency that we have. It can be whatever the f you want.
I know. Isn't that great? Like,
Yeah,
haven't, we're not used to that.
we're
So
not
we're
used
just
to
like,
being able to
you
decide
know,
what we want to do.
right, who we want to see or how far we want to drive. It's just really great.
It's just great.
Hey there, it's Eve Harrison. There's a question that I get from veterinarians all the time. How do you do concierge practice in your house call vet practice? Another question I get is, what is concierge practice? So the term concierge definitely gets thrown around in a lot of ways that are different from what I mean. But for me, I'm a house call vet, but as a sub mini micro niche within house call vet practice, I specifically have a concierge practice. So, among other features, concierge practice functions as a membership container, but that's not the only thing that makes concierge concierge. What concierge practice really means for me is that I run a thriving, fully self sustaining house call practice where I see way fewer patients. I earn income that is way more aligned with my actual effort, my skills, and the super thoughtful heart and soul that I put into my work. And the best part for me is that my client base is perfectly curated. I legitimately love every one of my clients and patients. And as a result of me not being burned out or resentful and feeling secure in my income and the energetic exchanges occurring between us, everyone involved receives the thoughtful, comprehensive care that they deserve, including me. And I actually have time and energy left to be my whole self rather than being defined by my career only. My Concierge Vet Mastermind program gives you everything you need to build a sustainable practice that honors both your calling as a vet and your ability to live a balanced, fulfilled life. In just 6 months, I will personally guide you through my Compassionate Concierge method with exclusive on-demand training, along with private coaching and direct text access to me as though you were a member of my actual concierge practice. So you get to feel what it's like to be a client in my own concierge practice. You'll learn exactly how to structure, price, and market your services while skillfully and compassionately honoring your own boundaries. Plus, you'll join a super intimate community of like-minded veterinarians who are transforming their practices right alongside you. Do you want to learn a little bit more about what concierge vet practice is and if it's a good match for your goals before you commit? If so, check out my free Concierge Vet Starter Kit. Both links are in the show notes for you. Welcome to VetMed's best kept secret, and I'm sharing it all with you. I can't wait to see you inside.
I have two questions. One, just so I don't forget. One is, you have amazing clients. I've never heard you bitch about a client ever, and
Mm.
I want to hear you talk about that. And then my second question is about something really cool logistically that you do that I found out actually in our last coaching session together. I was like, that's really cool. I do something similar but not that awesome. Which is how you have people purchase their, injectables and you
Oh,
store it
yeah.
at their house. So
Yeah.
let's first start with, you have these beautiful clients. I pride myself on having clients that I absolutely love, and I have all these ways to get there, and I have thoughts
Mhm.
about it. But there's something also very organic that we've never had to work, you and I, on how do I get these toxic clients out of my
Mhm.
practice, or
Yeah.
these people are bugging me, what do I do? And that's very common and very normal for
Right.
most house call vets, but you've had somehow just a really beautiful unfolding. And my theory is that it has something to do with who you are, that who you're attracting. But I would love to hear in your words. I mean, maybe that's what you feel it is too, but what would you attribute that to? Why have you had such a smooth sailing with your client base?
I think I'm very lucky, number one. And I think there's a certain client that is looking for what I give
Hmm.
versus maybe a general practice mobile practitioner who they're going to see once they just need their vaccines done. So my people, my clients, they are my people.
Yes.
Um, they're a unique breed, I'll say. And I've just been very lucky. I think part of the vetting is when you get a text or a phone call, there's some red flags. Sometimes just from that call or text, you can weed somebody out. You can I mean, text is a little harder to hear context, but you can just say, I don't think this is going to be a match. And then you can say, I don't have any openings.
Very
So
simple. Yeah.
very simple. But I think of all my clients, the ones that sometimes you don't mesh or acupuncture they're trying for the first time and it's just not their jam. I think those people weed themselves out. And I've never had to fire anybody. It's just I offer them, hey, we're scheduled next week. Do you still want me to come? And they'll say, oh, something came up or I'm going to pursue this. And then you just don't hear. I've had, pursue other avenues and that's fine
Yeah.
because, they sort of weed themselves out. But I think I'm just lucky. And I don't know, maybe it's the area I'm in. Yeah. I just, now I'm going to get at somebody.
Now you we're not jinxing you with this.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, yeah. But
No.
I think I'm lucky, and I think when I take them on, I let them know this is not immediate. You've got to commit to at least 3 to 5 sessions before you can assess if this is going to be helping you or not. So I kind of take a commitment. They know what they're getting into. They know what they're
Yeah.
getting into. And, I've had a couple of dogs that just would not allow needling, would not allow laser acupuncture. I mean, they just didn't want to be touched. Both were little chihuahuas, which I had a chihuahua, so I get it. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I think I'm really lucky.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the expression luck favors the prepared, fortune
Yeah.
favors the prepared. And I think that there's some of that as well, that you
Mhm.
are, I mean, just in looking at the situation, my thoughts on what's going on are, well, one, I just wanted to say those apple-headed chihuahuas in San Diego are the most adorable. I did, for those of you listening that don't know, I did my internship in San Diego, so I have a special place in my heart. And there's a specific kind of chihuahua, like with their little round apple head, is absolutely
Mhm.
adorable, but definitely not ideal for acupuncture. But anyway,
Mhm.
it's very interesting. I also wonder, I mean, I hear a lot of like live and let live. Like, you don't want to work with me, that's cool. You want to work
Right.
with me, that's cool. It's not a good match, cool.
Mhm.
You're kind of embodying like the San Diego ethos of just like,
Mhm.
surf's up, dude. Like, whatever. I'm riding the waves. And
Right.
then also I am sort of curious. You've mentioned you're sort of towards the end of your career and how there's this sort of blossom towards the end. And I think your experience and your you know, as we age, all of us, we have less and less tolerance for bullshit and a keener eye for who's won in
Exactly.
our world. And I think you're just manifesting it because
I
you have
am.
that eye.
Yeah, I do have that and at the beginning of this, you're like, when I quit my job, I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, that was a chunk of income. And I thought, what if? What if it doesn't? My husband had just retired, we're not going to go hungry, but there might have been a lifestyle change. By the way, this is not my house.
For anyone watching the YouTube, Wendy has this like beautiful background, Zoom background, as do I, but hers looks like this like very like luxurious like
My
boardroom with
dream.
like
Yeah.
fancy tree, like
Yeah.
beautiful forest
In
in
a
the background.
forest. Yeah. Yeah. I think there is when you get a little more mature, a little bit gray, those things like I don't need that client to put food on my table. So
Mm,
I'm at a level of comfort in my life that I don't have to worry about a few appointments.
mhm.
So I think that which near the end of your career is different than at the beginning of your career.
Yeah.
Um, And I think your bullshit meter, 40s it starts, but 60s, it's just like, I have all the friends I need. I don't need to take this. So, I'm just like, thank you very much and move on. So I think there's a bit of that too.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I love that. I love
yeah.
that.
And
And before we get to sort of the cool thing that you do with the meds at clients' homes, I did want to explore a little bit more your decision around quitting the relief, because that was something we talked about for a long time, and I'm
a
very
long time.
curious. Yeah, if you want to share any of your thought process, what
Sure.
made you finally decide it was okay to take the leap? What were you kicking yourself afterwards? I should have done this sooner. How did you get the courage to face these concerns that you had? What if there isn't enough money? What if,
Mhm.
how did you think through that?
Yeah. I think so. Just for background, I worked at this practice for 19 years. It was privately owned and was sold 5 years prior to me leaving. Um, and I worked a couple of days a week, great staff. Some of the techs had been there for 25 years, which is highly unusual. That shows how well it's run. So it was great and it was busy and everybody was just like this team. It worked. So new owner came in, not revealing too much, but young guy, hadn't been out very long, from LA.
Oh,
Uh, so
same.
had been a director of an emergency clinic. So he's coming from big city into this small kind of rural. This town reminds me, I've never been in a Texas town, but reminds me of what I see on TV. The high school football is,
Okay.
Friday Night
Yeah.
Lights.
Yeah.
Everybody supports in town businesses. So it's a certain feel.
Yeah.
Um, and so everything was great at first. And then he started trying to model this after a corporate. You know, we were, production, see more things. I mean, you're writing records, you're doing callbacks, you're seeing appointments, all this stuff. That's too long. You should be seeing stuff. And so that was annoying. But again, okay, whatever. And then people started leaving. So the whole staff basically turned over and they couldn't get registered tech. So um, I felt they were doing things not quite according to what they should be doing. And in the end, the hospital flooded and we were working for months, for months. It got so bad in a shipping container that they brought,
What?
a small shipping container that was probably 11 feet by 11 feet. It had an air conditioner in it. We had no running water. In order to go to the bathroom, we had to go to Jack in the Box, which was kind of across an alley, and then you had to have a code for the bathroom. And it was bad. There was a phone with the desk, and then we had a treatment table. We had another container that we'd have to run to get emergency meds or anything up and down these steps. This container, they didn't even have stairs. So there was a step. We had to pull all the old people, like help hoist them into this. So you'd be doing a euthanasia and the phone would be ringing and people would open the door. I'm here to get my meds. I mean, it was crazy. And
Oh my God.
then, and no registered techs. So we weren't doing surgery, thank God. But I came in one Friday and I worked by myself because only 3 people would fit in this. So I had an assistant, the receptionist, and myself. And this assistant, who was self-professed assistant manager, said, "Oh, this dog's coming in to be sedated so we can look at the ear because it's aggressive," and they couldn't sedate it the other day. I said, "I'm not doing that. I'm not sedating an aggressive dog. We have no cages. We have no oxygen.
Oh,
I have to run into, jump out of this container, run up the steps."
mm-mm.
And I said, "This is insane." I said, "I'm not losing my license after 31 years for this, for him to make a buck on something that should go to urgent care, whatever." So I came home and I said, I can't do this anymore to my husband. He wanted me to quit years ago, but you got 2 kids, college and all that stuff. So finally I just said, I can't do it. It'll work out, you know. The breadcrumbs will come. The loaves of bread will guide me.
Is that
Yeah.
right? You took
It was a leap of faith.
Mhm.
Terrified, but best thing. And right after I quit, I mean, doors opened. I got to go to France. I got
With
it's
your
just
client, right?
with
Your client took
with
you to
a friend,
France.
to accompany a dog, her dogs, and so it just was amazing, and basically doubles what I was making the year before with just work and having a day off. I hadn't had a day off. I worked 7 days a week for years. So, yeah,
Good for you. You
it,
landed.
I finally, it was the best thing. And everybody's saying you should do it. It's like, yeah, but, it's this comfortable misery, I guess. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
it's the devil
scary,
you
the
know.
unknown.
We're all afraid of the devil we don't know,
Yeah,
but often
yeah,
that leap of faith is just simply what has to happen. We have to trust and we have to take a
yeah,
risk.
yeah.
And so I love that you did that and it worked.
Yeah. Oh, it was the best thing. Best. I should have listened to you
Oh, no.
years
Well, it
before.
had to be the right time. And
Yeah.
that was a crumb from that was also like
Mhm.
what was it? Like a cheese Danish from the universe that was like, it is time. You're
It is
done.
time.
Right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that story. I
Sure.
wanted to have you share this sort of setup that you have where I do this for Adequan, and I have a
Mhm.
few other things where I have clients buy their stock to keep at home, and then I come and administer it. They make the
Mhm.
purchase, and it lives at their
Right.
house. But
Right.
you have it at another level. What is it? Cytopoint. You have
Yeah. So I
another
have.
level. Tell me about that system because I think that's very cool.
Yeah, I have Cytopoint. Mostly Cytopoint. I have a few Librellas. I don't start Librella. I only do it if they're on it from their vet because
Right.
when I see dogs, I've had some really sad things that I've seen
Same.
from, and I'll just
Same.
say that.
Yeah.
But and a lot of dogs, it is life changing. And a lot of these dogs, I have big dogs, they're 150 pounds, and to get them in the car once a month to get that. So, what I've done was, if they're already on it, I don't want to take that responsibility, and I let them know my concerns, but I have them buy the box. So, I said, you have to buy 6 doses of Librella. It's 5 of Cytopoint, or I have some big dogs, so their own combos, um, and you keep it there and I will give it. So uh, that's what I do. And it's worked out well. It's not everybody. I don't advertise it, but if they ask, um, then that's what I do. So I'm not keeping the inventory, and um, I just give the injection.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
keep it on their in their fridge. One of my clients that I do this for, actually, she was on the research team to develop Cytopoint. So,
Yes.
so, and I said, that kind of sucks that you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And and some of my clients have insurance. So I'm like, well, how do I do this? And the insurance that they have, I just bill it out for what I sell it for. Nobody's kicked it back. And then when I do on the subsequent, I just like no charge the injection because I've paid for it up front, and insurance hasn't had a problem. I have another client that's the first one I started with. I just She's very close to me, so she just buys the box and then I just charge each month for that. So I'm recouping it over
Hmm.
time, but so
Yeah. And I thought this was very interesting. I mean, as I mentioned, I do a little bit of a version of this, but when you mentioned that, especially about the Librella, it it harkened to a situation that occurred maybe 2, 3 years ago at this point, where I was also likewise very hesitant. I don't want to start Librella. I've heard the horror stories, and I've actually had a patient that, died the next day, and we don't know
Yeah.
for sure if it was as a result, but it was the proximity was too close to be a
Right.
coincidence, and that was very, very traumatic for me. The client was like, well, we took the risk, you told us about it, and we made that decision together, so there was no hard feelings. But for me, I was like,
Right.
I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that. And so I got a little traumatized over it, and I didn't want to give Librela. And I had a client that was like, I really want to start Librela. I don't care. I don't care. And I'm like, okay, it's expensive. There are these risks. Okay. And bought the box of Librela, which is 8 zillion, $1 gajillion, just of an upfront
Right.
spend. And I'm like, okay, but also like I'm buying this box for you. Like I'm not buying this for anyone else. So and it's expensive. I mark it up substantially because I was like, I don't even really want to be doing this. And for me to not take a financial hit in buying the box.
Sure. Right.
I was like, it's a good reason, not price gouging, but on the higher end of what it would be worth. And she's like, okay, I want it. And dog does great. And then she wants another injection, and then somewhere along the way she runs out of money, and I'm like, mother, because now I have this box. It's still in my fridge. It's it's obviously expired. I wouldn't use it on anyone else, but I shelled out for this whole thing, and she didn't want to continue with it at all. And I'm like, what do I do? And so when I heard you talk about how you're like, you can't buy it on a one dose basis.
No,
you
you
have to buy
can't.
the whole thing, because that's the expense to me. That's how my business
Right.
is shouldering this expense. So I thought that
Right.
was really genius that you
Yeah.
do that. And I also really like it too, because I hate schlepping things in and out of the house and having to remember for this client, oh, don't forget the Librela, don't forget the this, don't forget the that. And that's very much a part of house call practice, that you have to make sure you have the things you need. And I now have all sorts of SOPs and systems where everything is very clean and easy. But part of how I get that sort of excess cognitive load of remember this, remember that off my plate is I too like to have people have shit at their house.
Right.
It's like you're on sub-Q fluids, you're ordering the sub-Q fluids. And I mean, I think this is not unusual among vets, but I will administer it, but you need to order it. You need to have it at your house. You actually are going to have all the needles. You're going to have, adequantum, like you have it at your house. I will give it vitamin B, you get a bottle. I will give it if I'm giving it once a week, or but it just never occurred to me. I have a bunch of cats that are on Silencia, and I was like, that would be a great thing. Like they buy the box, and then I don't have to remember the Silencia. They buy the Cytopoint. I don't have to.
Right.
Those were two spots that I was just had a little blind spot, and you said you did that. I was like, oh, you're a genius. I love it.
Yeah. And I've done it both ways, and both of them, actually, all of mine that have that have insurance, and it has not been kicked out.
It's great. That's great.
And prior to me coming, my one client, she had both her dogs are inside of dogs. She was having another mobile vet general practice come out. It was $1,000 a trip to the Cytopoint, one Librela. And so I'm like, girl,
I could beat that.
I could beat that. Yeah. And it's just another appointment. She's a busy person. So
yeah.
So
and
it worked
props to the vet who was charging $1,000. Like if that's
she's probably like
yeah. I'm like this person undercut me, but
yeah. But
yeah, no, it all works out, and this ended up being the right fit, and it worked out. So it was really, really good. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I like to share this kind of thing with people who are listening, because there's so many, like, this is just a straight up good hack. This is just like, there are just so many ways outside the box that you wouldn't even consider in a clinic, but that it's like, oh, I leave like everything I need, like, or you're renting lasers to the client. They already have the laser at home, or you sell an CC loop to the client, so you don't have to remember to bring it in, or, or like an ozone, even if you're interested in ozone. I just spoke at the International Veterinary Ozone Summit. And I was talking about how you can, an ozone machine, if you're interested in that. I mean, that's a whole other conversation, but like there's fairly large units and there are generators that are mobile. You can bring them around, but that's still a lot of shit, a lot of stuff. And you can also just sell a home kit so that they can do it, and you charge for your time to administer the ozone and you supervise the whole thing, but you're not responsible for the equipment. You're not responsible for the overhead, the purchase, the investment. You just, bill for your time, which is the ideal way to do it anyway,
Right.
But I just love this subject. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
I would love to know. So I mentioned earlier that you've been in all of the house call and mobile vet, like the House Call Vet Academy offerings. I would love if you could share a little bit about some of your experiences or what it's been like being on that path.
Oh my gosh. Well, as we say at the retreat, what happens at the retreat stays at the retreat.
True.
But I mean, it is I can't tell you. It's like a little vacation. It's always a beautiful setting. Eve, you picked out the most gorgeous locations and houses. And I always say every time I come in, which I think it's 4 or 5 of them now.
Yeah.
I come in with my rolly suitcase and you start meeting people. And I said, it feels like that MTV Real World where you kind of come in and you're like, hi, I'm Wendy. I'm from San Diego. And they're like, hi. And so you're this sort of little nervous. Sometimes we know people on the Zooms are from prior, but by the end, we're just like sobbing and hugging. And it's like the best sisterhood circle. And I think everybody has come there from trauma, which is really sad, but everybody's come. So there are people, as you say, house call, interested in house call.
Curious.
Yeah, house curious. Yeah. Newbies just starting out, just in the planning stages. And then like Dale had been doing it for 20 years. So you get all this insight and everybody kind of tells, their story and what helped them. And it's this total bonding. I mean, it's amazing. We're doing acupuncture facials and we're doing yoga on the beach and sound bath. And I think the last one we were all laying there and the roof was glass. So it was at nighttime and we were on the beach. The roof was glass. We're all laying there and it's dark and Kristen's doing facials on everybody. And I just felt like we were in that Heaven's Gate cult, like we were this was it. And we were going to just be lifted up into the universe, the next level. There's nothing like it. So it's laughs, tears, great food, great people. Each cohort has been just a different vibe. Good ice cream.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you get a chance, you should come. It's always a great time and totally informative. I mean, I've learned so much through those retreats. I look forward to it every year.
Wendy, you're like the beating heart of our retreats. You're like the you're like you're the on staff comedian too.
Oh,
I love that.
We watched a guy get arrested on the beach for feeding birds, and we were all like shaking our fists at the police officers. We watched this. They said they were on a stakeout. We were laughing with the police, and we thought they were kind of joking till they took him off in handcuffs.
I know, it was crazy. That will never die.
And we Googled it, and we found out that he was arrested, and we called the jail. Remember? To see if we could bail him out. I mean, it was hilarious. It's like 10 vets.
Yeah. We had our we've had our shenanigans on every single retreat. It's kind of like shocking, like how much can be fit into those weekends, like how many stories come out of each one.
Yeah.
Oh,
always a good time.
Blast from the past. Amazing. So, thank you for sharing about that. Before we close up, I would love to know, do you have any advice for anyone who is, either starting house call practice, who is in house call practice and not happy with it, or maybe who's considering joining House Call Vet Academy or Concierge Vet Mastermind, any thoughts or wisdoms that you might like to share to those folks?
Yes, I think don't get in your head. You don't need all the things to start. You can just start and build as you go.
Mm.
Take the fear out of it. I remember the first time I went to somebody's house, I was scared. Like, you don't have a tech, you don't have, the front and the back, you can't run away. But it's just, I mean, it's really great. It's just, you're vulnerable, but you just take command, and I remember leaving going, wow, that was amazing. So don't let fear get in your way. Uh Wear nice socks
Yes.
because I remember not everybody allows shoes in their house. So you want to have socks where your toes aren't poking out. That
Great.
was,
Yeah.
another tip. I think House Call Academy is vital. I think even though I had already started and I had been going, I got so much out of House Call Vet Academy. Still do. I still have a subscription to it. So,
Mm.
because even though it's been, gosh, it was 2019. So we're going on 7 years.
Yeah.
That's insane. I still, am learning and go back to those and say, oh, well, what about this? And now I'm in concierge. So we're kind of moving in a new direction. I think they're all well worth the investment. Well worth the investment. And not only do you get guidance from Eve and the invaluable videos and templates and all the handouts and all that, the people in there, the vets, they're all so, I learn from everybody. I just have learned from everybody. Even an old dog like me has learned some new tricks. So I highly, highly, highly recommend it.
Amazing. Thank you for those kind words. And it's been a real honor to watch your practice develop
Oh,
and blossom, and to support you and to learn from you. And I've just enjoyed our friendship. So we're friends at this point, right?
absolutely.
Just like,
Yeah,
like our house call clients become our friends. It's the same.
it
So
is.
I'm very grateful for our friendship and very
Oh,
grateful to see the good that you've experienced, and how
oh,
you've grown and your practice has grown. It's been
mm,
very satisfying.
thank
So, before we finally close up, we are in a cafe, the House Call Vet Cafe. Would you like to order a beverage? It can be alcoholic or non. What
I
beverage
have
would you like to order?
my favorite two are a skinny vanilla latte hot, but given that it's the afternoon here in Southern California, my second alcoholic drink, I like the Ace pineapple hard cider.
Ooh,
It did not sound fabulous to me because they were out of the regular hard cider I get, and I had this, and now it's my new favorite. So
pineapple cider sounds
yeah,
fabulous.
yeah.
I'm gonna definitely try that. Thank you
And
for
I like the Ace brand. Not sponsored. Hashtag not sponsored. But Ace, if you want to sponsor me.
I know how. I love it. I'm still working on Four Sigmatic mushroom coffee to sponsor my ass.
Oh,
But until then, I have an affiliate link down below where people can get a discount code if they want to try Four Sigmatic mushroom coffee.
yes.
Just a little plug there on the subject of sponsorship. But anyway, thank you so much, Wendy. I'm so proud of you.
Aw.
Your practice is amazing, and totally a model for how beautiful and wonderful this can be.
Aw,
And
thank you.
just thanks again for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the House Call Vet Cafe. If you enjoyed this episode, then hit the subscribe or follow button on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts so you never have to miss an episode. This podcast is made specifically for you, so don't be shy if you'd like to reach out and let me know your thoughts on this episode. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook as the House Call Vet Academy, where I also share more valuable content. If you're interested in learning more about consulting for house call vets or the House Call Vet Academy online course and community, please click on the link in the show notes. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I can't wait for you to join us for our next episode of the House Call Vet Cafe.